All right. Adam and Eve eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The serpent says, go ahead. It's okay. Now, really, so he says, you and I surely die. Now, there's a question of the concept of dying. Because for one, the question is, why did God make Adam and Eve of bones? Being that bones deteriorate and break down. And they say had special bones that weren't going to do so. We will have to assume so. But we know they have bones because bones on bones and flesh on flesh. No can you speak to flesh, but flesh can be something. Once again, assume it's not like our flesh today, which wasn't going to decay. It had to be something different. And then the bones too. It had to be something different. They never said that changed. It was just that I guess we assumed they were going to live forever. They were going to live forever with this tree in the middle garden that they couldn't never eat from. That's a long time of temptation. But temptation is a desire to do something, a wanting of a pleasure, even intrigue and mystery. Don't know the good, you have to know the bad. Temptation would have to be a desire. I want the desire. Or say we've been totally ignored it. It wouldn't have been a desire. They were going to totally ignore it. They wouldn't even think about it. Because they didn't know good and evil. So even God saying don't eat of that, they was like, okay. If you say so. And they would never think of it again. Because thinking of it again would be, once again, a temptation. Well, why did there have to be a question? Why did he say that? Once they question, why can't we? Once they're inquiring, that puts it on the mind. And that can get into that thought creation of action. But they couldn't have that. Because they were thinking of pleasure, it will be the benefit. They'll have to think, I could give something. There has to be a pleasure. And just first have to be of how better not. What would be there from the minute he said, hey, that tree right there, they said, oh, tree. There have to be something to keep them from not doing it thoughtfully. But that takes a knowledge of good and evil. Otherwise, it's just a command. Don't do it. And it's a robotic. Yes, like a program. Don't do it. You put program, a electronic device, don't do it. You won't do it. Has no thought of doing it and not doing it. It can only do what it is programmed to do. And they didn't have any knowledge of good and evil, so they couldn't have had any kind of idea of that being wrong, to think of as being wrong. I might try it anyway. What's going on? Why? We don't really know about the death. We know that the serpent did tell a truth. But the other one about not surely die, that's something, not surely. What does surely die? They didn't die immediately. They died eventually over time. But no, they were going to die anyway. Because of the tree of life. Because then the Lord God said, behold, the man has become like one of us to know good and evil. For God knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes will be open and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. The serpent didn't lie. And I don't even lie there. And then we go to, and now lest he put out his hand and take also the tree of life and eat and live forever. They weren't going to live forever anyway. Now if I eat from the tree of life, but it was just there. But they weren't told to eat from it. They weren't told to eat from it. So they were going to die anyway. But even if the devil knew they was going to die, God didn't do no better. Well, they still could have lived. And they weren't going to surely die because they could eat of the tree of life. So it wasn't a certainty that they were going to die, because then they could have. It was only after the fact that God took them out of the garden. Therefore the Lord God sent him out of the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which he was taken. He drove out the man. And he placed cherubim at the east of the Garden of Eden, and a flaming sword which turned every way to guard the way to the tree of life. They were already set to die. But God had to make a decision, tell them to eat. He had to tell them they didn't have any thought of what to do. They couldn't know wrong.